B2B service firms. In this video, I am going to tell you exactly why your agency is restricted and confined to the life of only being able to attract referral deals. It's a sad life. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how to shift away from that and actually scale your B2B service firm. Now, this video is specifically focused on recruiters and staffing agencies. But with that being said, a lot of these principles apply to any B2B service firm. And I have actually noticed that most B2B service firms have these exact same issues, whether they are fractional CFOs, whether they are lenders, whether they are B2B consultants. We tend to repeat these same exact mistakes. And so first, who am I? My name is Alan Woods. I'm the owner of Woods Marketing. This is my client dashboard for one of my clients, And today alone, October 16, 2025, we have generated, these are the calls from today. And he's traveling through Spain or something right now, so he can't answer most of the calls. But for this client, each new engagement is worth between $25,000 to $100,000. This many calls today alone, okay? And we've been in this space for 6 years now. We've generated over $5.4 million for our clients. So that's my background. So anyways, let's dive in. So the issue with most recruiters is that you don't own your business. Your network does. What do I mean by that? Well, if your income relies only on referrals and only on word of mouth and only on repeat clients, you don't own the business, your network does. And when they slow down, so does your income. And so again, great job on you for providing excellent service and placing the ideal clients into these positions. The ideal placements, the ideal employees into these positions, excuse me. But my point here is not to belittle that. My point is that network dependent revenue is very unstable. And so as soon as one key relationship is gone, or as soon as the market slows down, your pipeline is dried. And so the issue is that 73% of recruiters rely on referrals only as their main mechanism for attracting new engagements. And it's not consistent. Okay? True ownership is when you own the pipeline, when you can consistently pump out new opportunities on demand. And so, again, the same concept applies in many B2B spaces, but we'll dive past that. The problem isn't oftentimes what you think. It's not only about getting more clients. It's having a system for predictable, qualified conversations. Because the issue, the key here is that when you have this system, it allows you to not only have less stress, but it allows you to provide better results for your current clients as well. And I'll explain exactly how in a little bit. But again, just imagine between 15 to 25 qualified intro calls with heads of talent or with HR managers every single month. Not by luck, by chance, consistently. And when you have this predictability, whether you're a staffing agency or a private lender or a broker, it changes everything. And so the issue with recruiters specifically is, again, when you are operating on a contingency basis, like most recruiters oftentimes are, you're essentially just working for free until they decide that your candidates are good enough. And so the fact of the matter, based on the data within the staffing space, within the recruiting space, is that most contingency-based recruiters place only 15 to 25% of their candidates. Most searches, they turn into nothing. And so the issue here is not what most recruiters oftentimes think. It's not that you're bad at what you do. It's that you're forced into this unoptimal position on the chessboard where there's just not many ways to win. What do I mean? Well, you're forced to chase volume, not precision. And so the problems here is it's twofold, two main issues. Number one is the lack of specialization. Because again, when your when your applicants aren't being accepted on your placements, this is oftentimes because they just frankly aren't the perfect fit for that role. And that oftentimes happens because you're endlessly prospecting and looking for your next client, your next position to fill, while juggling the process of finding people to fill the current placements. And so, because of that, you can't focus on one thing. And so, again, lack of specialization. When you don't have a clear vertical, when you're just this industry ambiguous recruiter without a clear vertical, every client you have to essentially start over with. You don't have this back pocket of qualified people who you can use to fill roles at any point in time. But this often happens because you have never operated from a position of abundance. When you have consistent intro calls with heads of talent and with these HR leaders, that allows you to shift out of serving anybody and to choose the specific vertical that you want to specialize in. Okay. And the other issue is, again, endless prospecting. When you're constantly spent chasing new leads, you can't do what you excel at, which is finding people and actually delivering on the positions that you're trying to fill. Okay. It just dilutes your focus. And again, like how we solve this is through the backdoor method. What do I mean? Well, when you have a consistent stream of qualified intro calls every single week with your exact ICP, this allows you to stop chasing after every deal, and it allows you to specialize in a single vertical, which then allows you to have a higher placement rate. And it just becomes this self-feeding loop where every action that you do continues to iterate and make the next action better, the next result better. So again, the way to solve all of this is with a predictable system that delivers qualified calls every single week, which buys your freedom back. This allows you to specialize in your strongest niche. This allows you to go deeper on every search and to ensure that every person that you put into a placement is actually fully qualified, and it allows you to spend more time with the hiring team to ensure that you understand exactly what their must-haves and nice-to-haves are. It allows you to truly deliver exceptional performance for your clients, exceptional fits. And when you have a specialized niche, and when you have a consistent track record of providing amazing fits for every single position, for every mandate, well, this allows you to shift away from the contingency model, because now you have a higher demand because you consistently deliver. And this gives you the leverage to structure a fair retainer, and it changes everything. Okay, so this isn't about just lead generation. It's about shifting your entire business model. And so if you haven't watched the rest of my videos, where most businesses fail here is that when they try to do outbound outreach, when they try to do outbound messaging, they just spam generic messages. They don't understand the recruiting space, and they don't iterate. They just kind of spray and pray and hope for the best and just throw it at the wall and hope that something sticks. And it's not the right way to approach this. So the only four things that matter when it comes to a campaign where we are sending out cold emails on your behalf and getting you new clients through cold email is, number one, volume. Getting you in front of 30,000 to 100,000 exact members of your ICP every single month. Relevance. Having a message that taps into the exact things that the heads of talent or the HR managers or the founders want to hear. iteration, not just blasting out a single message, but consistently testing, excuse me, consistently testing 5 messages this week, taking the winner from those and then adding on 4 new messages and constantly A/B testing week after week after week to see exactly what actually books calls with your ideal audience. And lastly is positioning, not just being the broad industry ambiguous recruiting agency, but finding exactly where your niche is in the market and capitalizing on that. Okay, that's what gives you authority. That's what gives you the level of power in the correct positioning to be able to demand higher prices and to be able to demand not contingencies but retainers. Okay, and when you can combine these 4 things, you stop hoping for opportunities and you really just you attract them and you magnetize opportunities towards you. Okay. And so that's really the core of this system, okay? It starts off with just the initial system setup of cold email and also LinkedIn on your behalf. And we send out 30,000 targeted, personalized messages to members of your ICP on both LinkedIn and through cold email every single month. And it's not spam. It's providing real value, crafting a message that captures your voice, and it allows you to duplicate the conversations that you already have in person, but doing that 30,000 times online, automated. That's the power. And then in months 3 and 4, you'll see the conversations increasing. You'll see your first clients beginning to close, because in this space, it can take anywhere between 30 to 90 days for the typical deal to close. It's quite common. From there, months 5 to 6, the pipeline is going to be continually filling up, and you'll be able to dial back on contingency work and have more of those exclusive retainers. And then from there, it's just predictable revenue, because you have positioned yourself completely differently within the market. And now you have control. Now you have freedom. Now you can truly scale this thing to 7, 8 figures and beyond. That's the difference. This gives you control. No more waiting on hope. No more just, hoping for referrals and hoping for word of mouth to pop off or thinking about ads. No, we engineer excellence and we engineer opportunity here. Okay. And so, again, you can implement this all on your own. And if you would like to do that, feel free. The systems can be built on your own. But the truth of the matter is that it would take hundreds of hours to do this all on your own and A/B test and set up all the different mechanisms. And you'd probably do a lot of things wrong and waste a lot of time. And I know, because I've done it myself. And so what you can do from here is book a call with me down below. And on that call, it's not a pitch fest. You're not going to talk to somebody else. You're going to talk directly to me. And we will dive deep into exactly what your current positioning is in the market, whether you are a recruiter or a B2B service firm in a different industry. But we'll dive exactly into where you are currently at, what your goals are, and we'll talk about how this system can potentially be implemented into your specific situation based on your ICP, based on your case studies, based on your leverage points, based on the competitiveness of your market. We'll talk about exactly what you can expect and forecast into the future, what the results might look like if we were to work together. Again, no pressure, but it's always best to have a deep understanding of what your options are. And this call is only that. It's a call to see what your options are and what you may be overlooking that could potentially blow up your business. So, book a call down below. If not, stick around, subscribe, keep diving into the content. But I would love to serve you, and I look forward to helping you to grow. Anyways, that's the video for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.